What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about if Telltale will make a Batman Season 3. Now, this is something that's long been asked of me to make. It's also something that's long been talked about that this could potentially happen, and I never really gave it the time of day based off of just things that Telltale has said in the past, but it seems like it's gaining enough traction, and there is something there. So, pretty much, Telltale changed the banner on their social media to images of the Batman series, and that is something pretty odd you would do, especially when you're pretty much, I think, full steam ahead on The Wolf Among Us. So The Wolf Among Us Season 2, we got the trailer back in December at the Game Awards. We were told that it's not coming out in 2020. They really had to start from scratch with it. It could be a 2021 game. Now, does that mean we won't see anything about it or hear about it in 2020? No, I actually think we probably will see something about it. I do want to make a Wolf Among Us 2 video very, very soon, but that seems to be where the focus is on. We've talked about Tales from the Borderlands. Tales from the Borderlands has actually had a couple different leaks that Telltale could be working on a Season 2, which is a game franchise that I absolutely, if I had to rank the franchises that I want Telltale to continue, I would pick Wolf Among Us and Tales from the Borderlands. Walking Dead, I feel like, has just reached its natural conclusion. Batman, I would probably put that honestly third. I would honestly put that I'd be more excited about Wolf Among Us and Tales from the Borderlands Seasons 2 than Batman. However, with that being said, I loved The Enemy Within. I actually really loved The Enemy Within. I think I had a pretty unpopular opinion with the first season of Telltale's Batman that I didn't like it. I actually didn't like it at all. I thought it was one of the worst games that they have made, besides like Game of Thrones, which had its moments but also didn't. The first half of Minecraft, which was pretty weak. They've made a couple. Guardians of the Galaxy I didn't think was very good at all. They've made a couple pretty bad ones, and I honestly think the first season of Batman, in my opinion, I do think it's honestly an unpopular opinion. I think a lot of people did like it, but what I will say is The Enemy Within, I adored. I loved the direction they went with that game. That game was so good, and I would absolutely sign up for a third season. But here's the deal. Ultimately, what's led to me always, again, kind of pushing this off and saying, I really don't feel like I need to look into this at all because I really don't think it's going to happen, was that when Telltale fell apart, which let's not forget, by the way, Telltale fell apart. Why'd they fall apart? A couple of different reasons. One reason was they literally were trying to make too many things at a time, right? They had so many different teams. They each worked on like different floors, they were saying, right? But they had way too many. There was just so many people working there on so many different things that they overreached. On top of that, their games were flat out not selling well. They were not making the money back that Telltale was using to continue to bring on more and more franchises and more properties to continue to expand their team to allow themselves to make all these games. Remember, even when they shut down right before then, they were working on like they were working on so many things. Remember the Stranger Things? They were also making their own unique game. They were making multiple seasons of different things like The Wolf Among Us 2. Remember, they were working on a lot of things all right before everything collapsed, right? And also you have to remember this. Part of the talk, once Telltale fell apart, and kind of like the dust settled, and then Skybound, picked some of the members up and finished The Walking Dead, and all that stuff happened, one of the things said is that Batman: The Enemy Within was a major part of bankrupting their company. That, there were a lot of games that didn't sell well. There were a lot of games that didn't make the money back that they were, again, spending to have all of these big teams and to expand like that. I feel like even like maybe Minecraft Season 2 had that problem. They talked about that there was a lot of games that had that problem, but Batman: The Enemy Within was sold miserably for them. That cost a lot of money, and that did not sell. I think that was probably one of the worst, if not the worst selling Telltale game ever. Now, was that because Season 1 people didn't like? I mean, maybe because ultimately, I say I didn't like it, and then people say that they did. Well, how many people actually played it? How many people bought the first and second seasons of the Batman? I really don't think all that many did, because again, they actually name dropped that game, The Enemy Within, Season 2 of Batman. They name dropped it as like a primary game reason why they went bankrupt. That game lost them so much money. So when I see something like that, I'm happy Telltale is back. I'm happy that was a very short-lived, just incredible, and in a bad way, right? Like a crazy thing that happened with Telltale falling apart, basically being put back together. It's good that they're back because ultimately they are pioneers of that game genre. I think the gaming industry is better with them. With that being said, They've already overstepped once, and they've made a lot of mistakes. And honestly, it seems like they may already be doing it again. Truly, like Skybound may be taking over The Walking Dead, so now Telltale doesn't have to worry about it. But already, you know that they're working on The Wolf Among Us. There's rumors that they're working on Tales from the Borderlands Season 2, and now they could be working on Batman Season 3. To me, and again, like, yeah, it is odd why they would change the banner. Maybe they are just kind of respecting old games. Maybe that's just the plan. Because it also doesn't make sense that why would you be focusing on Batman when The Wolf Among Us is already like completely silent? Nobody's talking about it. Why would you already focus on Batman? And then if Tales from the Borderlands is real, there's that too. So again, if all of these are real, if Wolf Among Us Season 2 is still going on, which we would all assume it is, right? Tales from the Borderlands 2 is real, let's say, and then Batman Season 3 is real, you already have 3 games being announced that you're working on, and none of them are released yet. Doesn't that sound like they already did that? They just finished doing that, and some of these people are the same people, some of them are different people, but like you'd think anybody, any business, leader would say, what caused us to completely collapse, or what caused them, say it's not the same people, what caused Telltale to fall apart in the first place? And then they list all the reasons. Then they maybe should look at what they're doing and say, aren't we doing the exact same thing? And isn't that doomed to fail? So ultimately, I'm happy Telltale's back. Do I want Wolf Among Us Season 2? Yes. Do I want Tales from the Borderlands Season 2? Yes. Do I want Batman Season 3? Yes. Season 2 sold me. It sold me on I want more of these characters. I want more of these relationships. I want more of this story, and I want it done like The Enemy Within, not like the first season. I do want it. I would like a Season 3. So while I do want all 3 games, it makes 0 sense to have all 3 of them being announced around the same time and all 3 being worked on around the same time. It is doomed. It is doomed to fail. I truly, maybe not with these 3 games, but eventually it will catch up. I guarantee you, because again, it did. Telltale already did this. We're just reliving history, and history that literally happened like a year and a half ago, right? So I really hope that if they are working on 3 games at the same time, again, I really hope that they stop it there. You even see it with other studios, even like Don't Nod, who I'm very, very critical of. They did so good with the first Life is Strange. In my opinion, it's like the only good game they've ever made. But really, if you look beyond that, like they were working on Remember Me before that, then they made that Vampire or Vampire, however you want to say it. That game was not good at all, I don't think. And then even if you look at it now, they have Life is Strange Season 2, which I hated. I really didn't like that game. You have that, and then at the same time they were doing that, they were also working on that Twin Mirrors game, which, by the way, is gone. It's just not, we haven't seen gameplay of that game for 2 years. That game was announced 2 years ago, and nobody's seen it. They delayed it out of 2019 indefinitely. It was supposed to come out in 2019. Last June, they delayed it indefinitely, and no one has talked about it since. And then also, they have that Tell Me Why game that's releasing, that's like an Xbox partnership that comes out this summer. So, like, you even look at Don't Nod, who maybe people think do it better, right? Because Life is Strange is it's pretty popular, and people think that's a pretty, and I adore the first season. I hated the second season, but people know Don't Nod, right? Even look at Don't Nod. Doesn't seem like think about it. They're making Life is Strange 2, which is done. They were working on it at the same time as this Twin Mirrors because it was announced around the same time, and it was supposed to come out while Life is Strange 2 was happening. And then you also have Tell Me Why, which, if that's coming out this summer, they've been working on that for probably 2+ years. So also same time. So in the same stretch of time, Don't Nod has been making Life is Strange 2, Twin Mirrors, and Tell Me Why at the same. How many games is that? 3. Are they handling it very well? I think Season 2 of Life is Strange is garbage. I don't think Tell Me Why is going to be very good. Twin Mirrors looked very shaky. It looked kind of interesting, but it's literally evaporated from the face of the earth. So have they handled it well? No. Ultimately, when you have these situations, they don't go well. Even look at big studios like Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog's done it where they've had those 2 studios working on a game at the same time, right? Sometimes it works. It did kind of work for them, but ultimately they kind of had to pull back and say, all right, we're just going to do one. And now, yes, does every development team, do they have a small portion of the team that moves on to the next thing or starts working on the next thing when the rest of them finish up the game that's being pushed? Yeah, every team, you have to imagine that Naughty Dog, let's just use them, right? You have to imagine they're working, and they've been working probably for at least a year on their next game. But a smaller team working on it. And then once Last of Us 2 is done, everybody else will move over besides like the multiplayer people, right? That's how any game development team does it. We know Warner Bros. Montreal has 2 full teams. So those 2 teams are working on 2 separate games, and that actually means 4 games, right? Because when the new Batman game is finished, right? I mean, you guys are all into Batman. So Warner Bros. Montreal, they have 2 teams. One is working on this Batman game. When they're done, or even right now, they're probably working on their next game, which, by the way, isn't what that other team is working on. They're probably working on a game number 3. You know what I mean? If you count all the games, they're working on like a game number 3. Everybody does it, but they don't work on 3 games simultaneously. That normally doesn't work. It didn't work for Telltale when they were making 3, 4, 5 games at once. It didn't work. It isn't working for Don't Nod. It doesn't even work for studios that try to make 2 games at the same time. Normally, it doesn't work. So, yes, I want Batman Season 3. Do I think it's a good idea for the health of that company and to want to see more games? Because ultimately, yeah, I'll take these 3 games, but if it means that they're going to shut down another 3, 4, 5 years and then we'll never get games from them again, it's not worth it. It's not worth getting it and them making the same mistakes over and over again. I don't know. Maybe I'm just paranoid on that. You guys can let me know if you agree with that. So let me know in the comments. Do you think I'm right with that kind of line of thinking, that they've made this mistake once before? Seems like they're doing the exact same thing again. Do you believe these Batman rumors? Do you think we would get a Season 3 announcement? Let me know. Make sure, as always, guys, you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go out. And thank you, as always, for watching. Obviously, if anything gets announced with Batman related, Telltale or otherwise, right, we'll absolutely cover it on the channel, okay? So, again, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.